Hello everyone and welcome to the first installment of the series Rob Bob Recommends. In this series I'll be going through pieces of media I saw recently, old or new, and just tell you what I like about them and why I would recommend them. Anyway, today I'll be talking about 3 pieces of media. The first of which is Lisa Frankenstein. Outcast high schooler Lisa Swallows, who has a strange fascination with the dead, has a crush on a dead man who is suddenly brought back to life. Together they assemble the missing pieces of his body as they grow closer. This is directed by Zelda Williams, who's mainly known for acting. This is her first time directing, and honestly I think she did a great job. This is written by Diablo Cody, who has written several dramedy films in the past, and she's even won an Oscar for her work on Juno. And this is also not her first foray into horror comedy, as in the past she wrote Jennifer's Body, which has gone on to be somewhat of a cult classic. And this film is somewhat of a spiritual successor to it. I like how the film is not afraid to be campy. So many modern comedies try to be self-aware by pointing out how X, Y, and Z is really silly, but honestly I think it's way more funny if you play something silly completely straight. The film's sense of humor might not be for everyone, but that's okay. Personally, I found many of the scenes humorous. I like Katherine Newton as the lead in the movie. I've only seen her in Freaky and Ant-Man 3. I remember her not being very good in Ant-Man 3 though, but I mean, it was Ant-Man 3. I mean, who's gonna try for that? I think she brings a weirdo outcast energy to the character that makes her odd but endearing. I also like Cole Sprouse as the monster. I just appreciate a really good human playing monster performance, and this certainly delivers. The way he moves his body and the way that parts of his body are immobile is a nice touch. It's almost like the nerves are permanently damaged or something. Kinda reminds me of Dawn of the Dead. I also think his progression throughout the movie into becoming more and more of a human just through his body language is cool. I also enjoyed the family members. They're all funny in their own ways. I would recommend this movie if you're into any horror comedies. Also, if you like 80s John Hughes coming of age movies, I can definitely see this becoming a cult classic in a few years. 8 decapitated bananas out of 10. If you know, you know. It's probably closer to a 7 than a 9. Alright, next piece of media is Blue Eye Samurai. During Japan's Edo period, when the country was blocked off from foreign contact, half-white, half-Japanese samurai Mizu goes on a revenge quest against the 4 white men in Japan, one of whom is her father. The show was created by Michael Green and his wife Amber Nozumi. Green was the screenwriter for Blade Runner 2049 and Logan, and I can definitely see his previous work in this one. Blade Runner and especially Logan have been described as neo-westerns, and this one is definitely too, although it's more like a classic samurai movie than westerns. Then again, the 2 genres are very much entangled. Honestly, I thought this was one of the best animated shows in the past few years. I really like the action in the show as well as the character dynamics. Every character has something interesting to do, even Ringo.
This is a serious message to everybody watching my update right now. Peace and love, peace and love.
No, not that Ringo. We just think it's gonna be the goofy sidekick, but even he gets an arc. I also appreciate how the main character is flawed as well. I feel way too often that in modern pieces of media, whenever there's a main girl character, she's always written to be indestructible. But it's way more interesting when they're flawed and they have to overcome the mistakes they make. Also really like how the show is made for adults. There's blood, there's boobs, there's all sorts of stuff that YouTube wouldn't let me show you. I just appreciate when there's an animated show that isn't made for kids and isn't a Family Guy ripoff comedy. I also really love the action sequences in the show. They're so fucking well directed and animated. Anyway, I don't want to say too much because I just want you to watch the show right now so season 2 can be a sure thing. Also, finally, thank you Netflix for not canceling one of your few good shows. Unironically, 10 peaches out of 10. And the final piece of media I'll be talking about today is the new Ted TV show. Before the events of the hit comedy film, Ted and his 16-year-old friend John Bennett must overcome high school bullies, John's family, and not getting caught smoking weed. The series is created by Seth MacFarlane, who previously created Family Guy and American Dad, and worked on the previous 2 Ted films. And honestly, this might be one of his best works. I think that the fact that the show is live action is honestly a help to it rather than a hindrance. One thing in Family Guy that I think kind of gets annoying after a while is the amount of cutaway gags. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some funny ones, but they stop the story dead in their tracks.
Enjoy!
I'm sadness.
I'm anger.
I'm disgust.
I'm poo.
And the fact that the series can only show us what's on screen except for one CGI teddy bear, I think really helps to focus the narrative. Speaking of the bear, I gotta say I love how they went all out for the animation on Ted. You know, this is a straight to Peacock TV show for a franchise that no one's thought of in a decade. They could have easily cheaped out on the animation, but no, they went all out and I commend them for that. Ted is super well integrated into the environment. After a while, you start to forget that these people are acting against literally nothing. I also found every main character in the show to be endearing. Sure, some would call them sitcom cliches like conservative dad, liberal daughter, pushover wife, talking animal sidekick, coming of age main character, but I think that they're all interesting and really some of the best of each of those cliches. Alright, I hear you over there. None of that matters. What matters is the show funny? It is a comedy after all. Well, I'm here to tell you that yes, it is very funny. Sure, there are some jokes that don't land, but overall, I found myself laughing throughout. I'm not gonna say any of the jokes because I want you to watch the show for yourself, but I would definitely recommend it. It is very funny. It's been a while since I've seen the Ted movies, but if I had to go from memory, I'd say that this was better than the movies. In fact, I think this is probably one of the best things McFarlane's ever done. Definitely check this show out. 8 McDonald's apple pies out of 10. Even though everything online says this is a mini-series, I would definitely be down for a season 2. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oscar's video should be out this Saturday, if not Sunday before the event. Bye-bye.